I thought her name was Natasha. But Bree is a idiot. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, I have officially finished my reread of Bloodmarked, which means it is now time to begin Oathbound. I'm very excited, but I'm also a little bit apprehensive. When I read Bloodmarked for the first time, I honestly didn't like it that much. I didn't dislike it, but it didn't meet my expectations, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I anticipated I would. So I'm a little bit nervous about that happening again. However, I did read Bloodmarked in like a day and a half, so I didn't really retain that much information. Honestly, in my reread, you could have told me this was a brand new book. I remembered almost nothing. So I was genuinely shocked by things that I had already read the last time I read this book. In my read of Oathbound, I'm going to go much slower. I'm going to be much more careful, try to retain the information as much as I can. Hopefully, I will enjoy it more on the first read. I do really like this series, and I want to enjoy this book. I genuinely just want to enjoy this book. But from what I'm seeing, a lot of people are saying that they did enjoy this more than Bloodmarked. And again, on my second read, I did enjoy it. It's about 10 o'clock at night. I'm gonna read for about 1 hour, and then if I have any particular thoughts, I will stop back in and I'll give you some updates. I'll see you next time. I'm back. So, it's been about an hour. I have finished the prologue, which was super interesting to have a prologue be like 60 pages. I will continue tomorrow. So, first thoughts. I already think I like it more than Bloodmarked. I am really interested in the characters in this beginning portion of the book. I really like Erebus, the Shadow King, however we're referring to him. I liked him in Bloodmarked, honestly. I knew something was up with his character the first time I read it. I thought he was going to be a Morgaine. I was 100% wrong on that. I don't know how I feel about the twins yet. I feel like they might get a little bit annoying. I don't know how long this, like, aggression and fighting is gonna last. I feel like it needs to be done very well. We'll see how that goes. I'm really interested in seeing what's going on with Cell. I kind of don't really care what's happening with Nick. So far, this book is giving the impression that it's going to be far less romance-based. Romance is by far always my least favorite part in fantasy books. So I'm really, really hoping that there's far less romance in this book. But so far, I'm enjoying it. I have a hell of a way to go. I'll check back in the next time I have an update, the next time I make some heavier progress. Okay, so I just read the part where Nick has set himself up to be arrested and confessed to the murder of Zhao. I'm not sure how we're supposed to pronounce his name. I hate when characters do this. The noble confession of murder. I hated when Cell did it in Bloodmarked, and I don't like that Nick is doing it. At least in this one, it does seem like I assume that Nick has some sort of plot or scheme that he's trying to, like, cook up. But I still don't like it as a plot device, and I don't like that it was also done in Bloodmarked, so it's been used twice. I do like getting different POVs. I do think that that is really nice, because so far we've only seen Bree's point of view, and so getting William, and I assume we're probably going to get other characters. That's a really nice addition to the book. I like getting multiple POVs, as long as it's not too many. Like when I read Crescent City, the third book, that was too many damn POVs. Why was every paragraph a different character? I'd be surprised if we don't get Cell's POV at some point. I'm not loving hearing everyone talk about the same questions over and over and over again, and like trying to figure out what's going on over and over and over again. It makes sense. Like, obviously the characters would all be questioning and trying to figure out why they are in the situation that they are in, but it's just not my favorite plot in the world. I'm really curious what's going on with Bree and the twins and her training. I already forgot the twins' names. The last chapter I read was Natasha's point of view, so the first chapter talking about Cell. I'm assuming that the story will end with Cell being cured So far, I am enjoying the story. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I am enjoying it. There's just certain aspects to the plot that I'm like, all right, we don't need to keep doing this. We don't need to keep talking about the same thing. All right, we can move on from this. But also, like, it makes sense why we're not moving on from this. I just don't want to keep hearing about this. But, anyways, I'm gonna go to sleep. Next time you see me, I will have some updates. Probably tomorrow.
Okay, we're back a little bit later. I have finished part 1 of Oathbound. So far, it's okay. I like certain aspects. I really like William's character getting a little bit stronger, and I actually really like what's going on with like the Legendborn side of the plot right now, like the Nick's plot, all of that. And I honestly didn't really care about Nick in the previous books, so I really like what's going on there. The Root Crafters side so far isn't that interesting. They're kind of just like, feels like they're just like chit-chatting mostly. But I do feel like that they are probably going to have the biggest moments in the plot in future parts. It just feels like that right now they're just kind of waiting until the next part starts. You know, it doesn't feel like they're progressing the story yet. It feels like they're alongside the story. I just read the part where like Valak and Emil both come to Aunt Hazel's house. And I just have to say, hate Emil immediately. Horrible vibes, not good. He immediately got out of the car and was just like so aggressive to Valak and like calling him names and accusing him of being the hunter, and like, why? Where did this come from? Like, I know like Valak isn't a great guy. He is, you know, part demon, and he does make, you know, like deals or whatever. He's the broker for whatever, but like, he hasn't harmed anybody from what we can see. Even he says like, I've been like guiding people on the railroad for years, like for generations. I don't understand where this like aggression is coming from, and I'm assuming that maybe later we'll get like a clearer point of view on that. But like, it seems like this whole family would have grown up like with Valak being in the rotation and like knowing who he is, and like, I don't know, bad vibes, horrible, don't like it.
Bree, Elijah, and Zoe just arrived to the rat. Bree is pissing me the fuck off. What do you mean that they said, you're not supposed to be there, it's not safe, we don't want you there, Erebus doesn't want you there, and the people in the bar do not want you there. Do not speak, do not interact with anybody unless you absolutely have to, and don't cause any problems. And she's immediately like commenting on what the bar looks like and calling it ugly, and then being rude to the doorman. Brie, what the fuck are you doing? It's actually like making me angry. And I know she's 17 and I know like whatever, but she's been smart in other books. When she went to Valak's place for the first time, she minded her business. She did not cause any problems. She didn't interact with anyone. She didn't have to. Cell caused the problem that ended up happening there, not her. So I don't understand where this is coming from all of a sudden, where she's just being nasty. It's making me angry. I'm gonna keep reading. Hopefully this feeling goes away. Oh my god. Bree's pissing me off. Oh my god. Bree has never been this goddamn stupid. Well, maybe not never, but where's the girl that plotted and she got Erebus to come and take her and she was plotting all this shit and now she just can't shut the fuck up for 3 minutes? I just finished the bathroom scene with the girl that Bree finds getting like kidnapped. Bree's really pissing me off. And not because she tried to intervene with the man or whatever. Because realistically, girls gonna be girls. We're gonna do that. Zoe has told you, they have told you multiple times that this is a very dangerous place. The person they're meeting is very dangerous. And now you are deliberately causing problems for them, and you are starting a fight that you know you can't win. Because like Zoe's saying, like, she's gone. Like, what can they do? And Bree's arguing, like, no, we have to help her. Well, how? We got shit going on inside that we gotta take care of. I need you to stop. Like, I need you. We can deal with this later, but right now, we got other things going on. Like, it's making me angry. Right now, I'm at page 252. Bree just kind of stood up to Erebus. I'm really not liking how Bree is interacting with the twins. She's really the villain in their story, and like, not in like a fun way. Like, she just cannot stop messing their stuff up. she's just causing further and further problems and making their situation worse and worse and worse. And I know Zoe said, like I appreciate you trying to help us out, even if Elijah doesn't say it. I don't. Stop talking, Bree. Why are you making all of these assumptions and like trying to do these things for the twins when the twins have never asked you for help? And in fact, they have told you multiple times to stop doing the things that you're doing, and you keep making it worse. And it's really just starting to piss me off at this point, because she's just like being an asshole. She's just being selfish and being an asshole. And I know, again, she's 17, she's young. I know that's like a part of like the YA genre. But I don't feel like this was necessarily, at least as big of a part of her character in the previous books. And I feel like it's like all we're getting now. Like, I feel like she is just a selfish asshole currently. I would really like to get back to the other characters' point of views. Oh, I skipped forward a little bit. Okay, the next chapter is Natasha. So an update on my thoughts. I'm currently on a picnic right now, and I just read a little bit more, and I just got to the part where Bree, Elijah, and Zoe have come back from meeting Deza, and now Erebus is saying that they can continue the mission, but Elijah needs to stay at the house, and he will be killed if they fail. And honestly, I just feel really bad for Elijah at this point. Like, all of his plans that he is setting up are being sabotaged by Bree. He is now being threatened. I just feel really bad for him, and I feel like we're being set up for him to betray them, for him to go rogue, for him to die. I think something is going to happen with his character because of all of these like consistent failures. Like when he met Deza and he kept failing at like asking the right questions or introducing himself the right way. I don't know, I'm getting a bad feeling that something is going to happen with him because of all of this. I'm still pretty annoyed at Bree, but I'm feeling better about Elijah and Zoe, but we'll see where it goes. Hi friends. It's been about a month since you last saw me. I have not made any progress in Oathbound. I fell into a bit of a reading slump. I was reading this and another book at the same time, and it just wasn't working out for my brain. I ended up picking up the Hunger Games books, which is another video that I have posted already on this channel. That helped break me through the reading slump very quickly. So it's time for me to get back into Oathbound. I had left off in the middle of a chapter, so I did finish off that chapter. Currently, Bree, Nick, Mariah, Zoe, and Ava are all at the like dealer's auction or whatever. I can't remember what the event is that they're at, but I know they're at like a demon's home or something. Bree and Nick went to steal the crown, ran into each other, had a fight, escaped, and then were fake relationship to cover their tracks. The part that I just read is where they switched all of their positions to be able to hide who they are. I'm very sad for Mariah, knowing that she met Bree. Bree did not recognize her and like didn't speak to her at all. I think Nick is handling it a lot better than I thought he would. I was really expecting Nick to find out that Bree doesn't remember him and to send him into a spiral. But he seems to have accepted it pretty quickly without really any arguments or questions. Ava, I have no thoughts on. But yeah, that's where I'm at this exact moment. Next time I have any thoughts, I will check in. I will be finishing this in the next few weeks. So next time you see me, I will have made a chunk of progress. So Nick, Zoe, and Bree and Mariah are in the library, and they're talking about the situation and trying to figure out what to do. And Nick mentions like, oh, the man you lived with. So Zoe's like, oh, you told him who he lived with? Like, you're telling him our secrets? And Bree's like, yeah, like, we have to be open about some of these details in order to make it out alive. And Zoe says, fine, I'll follow your lead. I trust you. Why? What reason does Zoe have to trust Bree? Again, all Bree has done throughout this entire book is fuck up Zoe and Elijah's shit. Like, she hasn't done anything helpful or productive. Like, she hasn't lied and she hasn't like tried to hurt anybody, I guess, but like, what has she done to deserve Zoe's trust? And in this specific instance, what does she have to have Nick's trust? Like, I guess Nick would inherently trust her, but he knows that she has no memory of him, and like, she hasn't shown really any reason to trust her either. I don't know. Nick I understand more, but I still think like that's a bit of a confusing note. But Zoe, like again, there's literally zero reason for Zoe to trust her. This book is just really pissing me off. Like Bree telling Zoe kind of out of nowhere she's the scion when she knew that Zoe wasn't gonna have a good reaction. It's like I feel like this wasn't the time to continue lying. I don't know. I feel like that would have been a good time to just be like, hey, we'll talk about this later. We'll figure something out. Tell her you're Lancelot. I don't know. I feel like there could have been a different solution, but also Zoe just being like, I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm like, oh my god. Didn't you just have this whole thing about how you both need to survive? And I don't understand when she said, like, are you really here for the crown or for the girls? They're one and the same. No, they're not. If the man gets the crown, he'll tear apart everything. Like, I don't know why any of that would be in question. I guess she's assuming that like, oh, is Bree gonna try and destroy the crown? But it's like the one thing Bree has repeatedly said is that she wants to save these girls. So I don't know why Zoe would doubt her intentions, right? In this moment, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't like this. I don't know. I guess I'm just not like a big romance person. I'm just not enjoying these like overt expressions of like love. And I think also because I like Sel. I don't really like Nick like that. I want her to be with Sel, but I think if her and Sel were talking like this, I would also feel uncomfortable because I just feel weird. Nick and Bree were just attacked. It's the next day. They were talking about Sel and stuff like that. I wanted to stop in because they're talking about how the intruders, the attackers, were wearing masks, and they're like, oh, so any warlock that's in this room could have been your attackers last night. They didn't take the masks off? 3 of them were knocked out. You didn't just pull off the mask, at least one of them? That very much seems like something Nick would have done, is taken off their masks. I mean, they moved them into the corridor. They hid them in like a stairwell. They had plenty of time to take off a mask. The main character is so stupid. And I don't feel like she was stupid in the other books. I just finished reading them, and I did not think that she was dumb. I mean, she may have made a dumb decision here or there, but in this book, I'm like, oh my god. Everything she does is stupid. Right now, all I'm getting is Bree and Nick, and I don't care about Nick, and Bree is being dumb. And like the gala they're at sounds interesting. We just keep going back to like romance plot and stuff, and like I don't care. And again, if Bree is being stupid, then all of the interesting parts aren't gonna matter because she's not gonna do anything smart with them. When do we change character POVs again? Please. We don't change character POVs until part 4, which is at page 531. I have 70 pages until we change POVs again. And then it's Natasha. Natasha? I thought her name was Natasha. Okay. I'm once again just extremely confused about Nick and his motivation and his personality at this point. Because Bree didn't tell Nick about Sel for so long because she was like, he's gonna be mad, he's gonna freak out. And then she finally just told Nick where Sel is, that she sent him off to be with his mom. And he's like, oh, good, that's good. I don't understand like any of these characters' reactions to anything. I feel like nothing is like making sense. No one is reacting in the way that I would expect, because I feel like at this point I would be angry. Like, I would be angry that she hadn't told me yet. When, again, she's been telling me everything so far. This is the thing that she kept secret until this point, when I was just freaking out about... So, I don't know. Like, I feel like I would be angry, but now he has, like, no reaction to it. So, I'm so tired of their romance. Like I said at the start, I don't care about Nick. He's very, like, nothing to me. I was a Bree and Sel shipper, but we haven't fucking seen Sel. And very obviously she's gone with Nick. I'm over this book at this point. I'm officially in part 4. So, I feel like I'm probably not going to check in very much from now on, because I feel like my thoughts are the same. Bree is very fucking annoying. I understand that she wants to save these root crafter girls, and I understand that she's a teenager and she's stupid and irrational. My god, has there ever been a single moment where she thought at all. Nick, I'm really kind of over as well. I like Erebus. I do actually really like his character. I think he's interesting. I'm finally on Natasha, Sel's mom's chapters. I want to know what's happening with Sel. I hate that he's gone. He's the character I was most interested in, and he hasn't been in this book at all. I don't give a fuck about Nick. I don't care. Why do we have so much about Nick, but nothing about Sel? And Sel's the interesting one. Sel's a fucking demon. That's so interesting and so cool. Why don't we have, like, any information about it? Except for what, like, a total of 15 pages out of a 600-page book? Nick has a piece of the Shadow King's crown in his chest. What does that mean? How did that happen? I don't know. She said, why would she do this to you? Because I asked her to. What does it do? I chose the shard so Arthur couldn't choose himself. Even if that meant I couldn't touch you again or didn't get a chance to explain before it happened. Oh, because he has the empty shard, he would take Arthur's spirit. Oh, I see. Excuse the lighting for a moment because I was just reading nice and cozy, trying to finish this book, and I'm confused and I'm a bit annoyed. So what just happened is Valak and Emil broke into the dungeon that the group was stuck in, right? And they've now gotten out and they're trying to grab the crown, whatever. Bree says, wait, Valak, you know William. Can you call William and send him to the Institute because that's where the Rootcrafter girls are being held? Why the fuck does she know that? How does she... Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. Let's see if they tell me in a second, because if that doesn't get explained, I'm going to be very annoyed because that doesn't make any sense on why she would... She doesn't know who William is. No, that explanation doesn't make any sense. I understand why, like, she's made the connection that, okay, if he retrieved them and he needed somewhere, like, safe to put them overnight, he can take them to the Institute, and that's where the labs are, and there's doctors, and yada, yada, yada. Okay, whatever. I can get behind that idea. But it literally says the idea forming in my mind quickly. So she didn't know that when she said it. Based on the context, she doesn't know who William is. Why does she... Like, I guess she's getting her memory back? This didn't make any sense. Am I stupid? She literally doesn't know who William is. She doesn't know who Valak is. She shouldn't know who Valak is. She doesn't know that they know each other. If she's getting her memory back, that's fine. I would like an explanation in that sense, but okay, I can accept that. I can accept that maybe at times she's gonna have her memory. She's gonna remember something and it's not gonna be explained. I can get behind that idea. But having that idea plus her putting these pieces together out of nowhere, and it's not in like a the narrator knows more than we do kind of way. She doesn't know either. Okay, this book is trying to convince me that Bree is really smart, and she's really not. If this was first book Bree, maybe. Maybe I could get behind it. I still don't think it would make any sense, but maybe you could convince me. Third book Bree is a goddamn idiot, and it's trying to act like she's not. Again, literally all she's done is fuck up everything. She has not done one single thing correctly in these books. But then suddenly she's like a mastermind who knows all of this stuff. I want to love this book so badly. I do. So desperately want to love these books. Because I love the first one. I love the concept. There's so much about it that I personally want to connect with. This is based in North Carolina. It's so similar to my friend Zippy's like life that I want to connect that. Like, I have that personal connection that I can build with Bree because Bree reminds me so much of my friend Zippy. And that's all I want, is to feel that connection with her. But Bree is a fucking idiot. I don't like her. This is so much goddamn book, and none of it is about the characters that I care about. Where is Sel? Give me an update on Alice. Give me something with William. I don't care about Nick and Bree, and nothing that's going on with them is making any sense in the plot. Like, what is the plot? How does Bree just know this information? That doesn't... There needs to be an explanation. There needs to be a point A and a point B for why Bree knows this information. This little paragraph right here doesn't accurately explain why she knows these things. I so desperately want to like this book, and that's why it's so upsetting. I don't think this is a good book. And I haven't felt this in so long. Like, maybe it's because my expectations are high for it, because I read shit books all the time. But I think it's because I want so much more from this book that I am so disappointed. And like, all I want is to love this book. Did I miss the part where Bree knew who Will was? Where she met him and like learned who he was again? Because why does she know who Will is, but she doesn't know Lark, she doesn't know Nick, she doesn't know any of these people? Why does she know who Will is? Why did she know anything about the Institute? Okay, Bree's dad just arrived at the house, which I already forgot what the name of it is. Okay, so he said, even if you don't know who I am, and she asks, like, how do you know about that? And he says, your mom told me the rest. What? That doesn't make any sense. Same way she told you, I gather. The bracelet, her voice, her message to me right when I was filled with despair and too many unanswered questions. But she's got magic. He doesn't. He's just a guy. She literally has the power to communicate with her ancestors. Obviously, that would mean her mother would be included in that. Her dad doesn't. There's no explanation for the dad knowing this. And Natasha doesn't know about this either. She doesn't know that Bree doesn't know. This doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. This doesn't make any sense. I would love for it to make sense. I would love for that to be the case. Also, how is he not, like, freaking the fuck out? His 17-year-old daughter has been missing for months. And he gets out of the car and he holds her and he's just like, hey, you're good. Why has he been so calm? His 17-year-old daughter has been missing for months. Her best friend has also been missing for months. It doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense to me. Also, I know that for Alice, that there's some, like, telling Alice's family as well that she was sick or, like, she was having a hard time with classes. They're 17. These kids are 17 years old. There's no way their parents would leave them this alone. Bree's been gone for, like, 4 months. This whole thing with Alice and Bree has been going on for, like, 5 months now. How are there not, like, police reports? She told me the stuff you've already had to face down at Carolina. Natasha doesn't know what fucking happened in Carolina. She wasn't there. And Sel didn't tell her. She might know some stuff. I'm not doubting that she has some knowledge or she might have watched from the shadows at some point. But she doesn't know 95% of what went down. Because she wasn't there. Sel didn't tell her because he hasn't been talking to her. I understand we were trying to skip the, like, info dump of Bree informing her dad on everything that's been going on. I think it would have made more sense, and I think it would have been more impactful if he had gotten out of the car, scared and freaked out, come to Bree, they reconnect, and she explains to him what happens, and then at the end of that, he tells her this speech about, like, you're Bree, you can do anything in the world, like, you are strong, you are... But instead, he just finds out off camera from a person who doesn't know what was going on. I think it would have been even more impactful or made more sense if he was angry at Bree. But instead, he just is like, okay, whatever happens, happens. Wild to think that your mom brought you to Hazel when you were a kid. Every time I think I know what that woman was all about, she finds some way to surprise me. Me too, bitch. Can we get a plot line that isn't directly caused by her mother being smarter than literally every other person in this book? I mean, love it. Love her mom. But, like, literally every single thing that happens in this book, it's like, my mom. Bree, Nick, and Erebus are having their little meeting now. And Bree just agreed to another fucking thing without thinking about it. I'm assuming there's gonna be some twist that she's outsmarted him. Wow, I'm actually surprised Bree chose her soul instead of Alice. Wait, what? Blood marks can be inherited. Oh, he's Erebus's son. No. No way did you bring back my favorite fucking character and kill him. No. No. He is not dead. Okay. I gotta say. Selwyn Kane is dead. He is not dead. At least put, like, a page break in the middle there. If we're gonna make me truly pretend that he's dead. Or think that he's dead. I finished it. That took me 2 months, but it is over. I did like that twist at the end. I like Cell being Erebus's son. I think that's interesting. I think you've probably gathered most of what I think of this book so far. Let me give you a full review when the lighting is good and, you know, I can talk clearer and it's not 11 o'clock at night. Okay, see you soon. Okay, let's talk about it. Please know that this is not hate, right? I truly wanted nothing more than to love this book. I loved the first Legendborn book. I didn't love the second one on my first read, but my reread, I enjoyed it a lot more. Why was Bree so insufferable in this book? She was fine in all the other ones. I feel like the characters were pretty insufferable half the time. Their motivations didn't make a lot of sense throughout a lot of the book. A lot of the plot lines were very confusing. Things happening out of nowhere, like I already talked about it before, but Bree just knowing that the Rootcraft girls were at the Institute, the explanation of that still doesn't make any sense. Where is the ABC? Like, where are the steps that make sense? So you already know, I thought that Bree was insufferable in this book. Something changed in her character in a way that I greatly disliked. Nick, from the very beginning, didn't care about Nick. He's kind of just a nothing character to me. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but Nick is he's just a guy who is there. All he cares about is Bree. That's it. At a certain point, it's like not cute anymore, right? It's just annoying when that's literally all that Nick talks about is how amazing Bree is and how much he loves Bree. And that's really all anyone ever talks about with Bree is like, you're amazing, you're amazing. Like, yeah, you're our leader, you're amazing. It's like, yeah, she has a lot of power. Someone else should be in charge. Really like Cell, and I would have loved to have gotten more of his character, but we saw him for 10 pages until the very end of the book, and then at the very end of the book, he still didn't really make a lot of sense. And I guess you can chalk that up to him being like a demon or whatever, but I love the twist with Cell at the end of the book, but why? Cell wasn't a character in this book. Cell was just a little chess piece moving around the board. He didn't do anything until literally the very end. And why is he even in the book? This book is 640 something pages. Why was he in a total of 30 pages, but he had like the largest plot twist at the end of the book? I don't know, there's so many characters. None of them feel like they matter. Alice and Will, Zoe and Elijah. What really did they do after the very beginning of the book? Right after parts 1 and 2, when Bree is living at Erebus's house, Elijah did nothing. He was the bait for Erebus or whatever. But then Zoe also would just like make whippy comments. She didn't really do anything. Emil is a character at the very beginning of the book and then a character at the very end of the book. Valak is the only one who feels like a real person. He's like the only person who genuinely gets angry at Bree and like kind of treats her like she's a real person who is getting pissed off because she's making bad decisions but is still trying to support her. I think that's enough ranting about this book for now. So I'm very sad to say that I would not recommend this book. That is the end of my review of Oathbound. I hope that you enjoyed my reading vlog. If you have any tips, suggestions, comments, please let me know. If you read this book and if you liked it, please let me know what you liked about it. Please prove me wrong. If you agree with me, please let me know, because I also want to know that I'm not crazy for disliking this book, because the reviews on Goodreads and Storygraph are really, really high, and I feel like I'm crazy. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.